What's up, Taiwan? I'm Joyce coming to you from Taipei with the latest news. Electricity has been restored to China's western Xinjiang region after a magnitude 7.1 earthquake struck in the early morning. Chinese state media has reported injuries but no deaths from the quake. Local authorities say 2 houses collapsed and dozens of trains had to be suspended in the remote area. Dozens of aftershocks rocked the region, some of which were felt in neighboring Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. At least 8 people have died in a landslide that hit southwestern China on Monday. Rescue workers in Yunnan province are trying to find dozens of people still missing in snowy, freezing conditions. Although landslides are common in this part of China, it's still unclear what triggered this one. Snow has fallen in the mountains of Taiwan's capital for the first time in years. Rick Lowert reports on the cold snap gripping the nation.
The temperature is dropping here in Taiwan as the country experiences a rare cold snap. It's about 8 degrees here in the center of the capital, Taipei, but just outside the city center, snow has fallen on the mountains for the first time in a few years, causing the closure of some schools there. In other parts of the country, farmers are taking measures to protect their crops and animals from this chilly weather. These low temperatures come during one of Taiwan's warmest winters on record. But meteorologists say that global warming and climate change are making these sudden changes in weather harder to predict. Justin Wu and Rick Lowert in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's unemployment rate last year fell to an over 2-decade low. The latest government figures put the jobless rate for all of 2023 at 3.48%. That's the lowest since 2000, when it was 2.99%. As of December, there were about 400,000 people out of work. The unemployment figure has dropped steadily in the last few months, which the government says is a sign of a stable job market. New figures show that Taiwan's export orders fell significantly last year. 2023 export orders were down 16% compared to the year before, but they were still the 3rd highest in history, behind only 2021 and 2022. The government says the decline was due to weaker demand around the world, especially for things like base metals, machinery, and chemicals. Electronics exports also dipped, but the government is predicting greater demand this year. A campaign to legalize surrogacy in Taiwan could be moving forward, with public hearings planned after the Lunar New Year. But as John Van Triest reports, the issue is proving deeply divisive.
Labs like this are at the center of one of Taiwan's biggest social and political dilemmas. Here, women get pregnant with other people's children, and they're often paid to do it. This practice, called surrogacy, is legal in many parts of the world. But in Taiwan, the law's ambiguous, neither outright banning it nor permitting it. But with strong voices for and against surrogacy in Taiwan, that could soon change. Opponents worry about ethics, especially the idea of women being exploited for their bodies.
台湾不应该把另外一个女性当成工具，或者好像一个自动贩卖机一样，投入金钱就可以购买婴儿。
只因为我付钱，就希望就能够买到一个孩子。我们也听到过，因为这个孩子生下来不如我的预期，或者有一点早产，我就不要了。
There's opposition on religious grounds too. The Pope recently called the practice deplorable and called for a worldwide ban. An alliance of groups opposed to the practice say the public's on their side. On Monday, they released a survey with close to 8,000 valid responses. Over 80% said they're against legalizing surrogacy. But a range of people, including LGBTQ+ couples and those with fertility issues, see surrogacy as one of the only ways to start a family. Every year, Taiwanese people go abroad to find surrogate mothers, a practice Taiwan's government doesn't object to. Sophia Lin is the founder of one group that matches Taiwanese women with surrogates in Ukraine and Kazakhstan. She says hiring a surrogate isn't something the women she works with take lightly. It's something she knows from her own experience, too.
对于反对代孕的这些团体，他们认为说我们可以去领养。你知道我在去乌克兰代孕之前，我是被领养团体拒绝的。我们甚至也有不少来参加我们分享会的这些朋友，甚至曾经去上过领养团体的课程，是上到一半，然后被淘汰了。
And Sophia says foreign governments carefully vet both the surrogates and the Taiwanese women hiring them, checking eligibility, and making sure no one is exploiting anyone else. Sophia says it's time Taiwan starts doing the same.
他们说他们已经生了2个孩子了，生产的过程中并没有产生任何的不舒服啦，好，或者是任何不良的影响，所以他觉得可以替别人生一个孩子，然后又可以赚到微薄的补偿金，他觉得非常的有意义。
Advocates like her have seen some political momentum on their side. Politicians like Taiwan People's Party chair Ko Wen-je have endorsed legalization and made it part of recent election campaigns. And in December, the legislature's Public Health Committee approved a draft amendment that would legalize the practice. But the government wants a consensus before it goes any further.
社会上对于代理孕母这件事情还是有许多不同的看法。以这一次的选举的过程当中，那各个政党其实就是说对于代理孕母的态度也都不尽相同。
The Health Ministry is planning 2 public hearings on the issue after the Lunar New Year in February. But with a line so sharply drawn, the consensus it's looking for may prove hard to reach. John Su and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Explosions were seen in Yemen's capital after the US and UK carried out fresh airstrikes there. It was the latest round of attacks targeting the Houthis, an Iran-backed rebel group that controls most of Yemen. They've been attacking commercial ships in the Red Sea, which they say is in response to Israel's ongoing assault on Gaza. The US and UK have launched 8 attacks on the group in the past 10 days. These latest strikes come after Houthis claimed a successful attack on a US military cargo ship. The US Navy has refuted that claim. A Hindu temple has opened in northern India to much fanfare, but its construction at the site of a mosque demolished by a Hindu nationalist mob decades ago has stirred controversy in the country. Rosie Greninger has the story.
Thousands flocked to Ayodhya in northern India for the long-awaited consecration of a grand temple to the Hindu god Lord Ram. It's a celebration for the country's Hindus, who are 80% of the population. They believe the site is where Lord Ram was born 500 years ago. Over 100,000 people are expected to visit per day for the next few months.
यहाँ से निकलने का मन ही नहीं कर रहा है, लग रहा है यहीं रह जाए, घर ही नहीं जाए। राम लला विराजमान हुए हैं अयोध्या राम मंदिर में, हम लोगों को बहुत खुशी है और 8 तारीख से हम लोग यहीं पर हैं।
But the lead up to this opening has been contentious, at the core of a centuries-long religious rift. The temple was built on the site of a demolished 16th century mosque, torn down by Hindu mobs in 1992. It sparked violent nationwide riots between followers of the 2 religions, and 2,000 people were killed, mostly minority Muslims. This temple opening evoking painful memories for that community.
हमारे दिमाग में हमेशा 6 दिसंबर गुजरेगा। इस तरीके से सब यहाँ पे आके दंगा वगैरह करके हमारे घर को भी जला दिया गया था सर। ये बगली में मेरा घर है। हमने क्या गुनाह किया था बताइए?
The 92 demolition was ruled illegal by the Supreme Court, but the site was still granted to Hindus who claim it's been holy to them for centuries before the mosque was built. This temple now opening marks a culmination of a 4-decade campaign by far-right Hindu groups, and a key part of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 2019 election promises. He inaugurated the temple with a national election due to be called in weeks.
गुलामी की मानसिकता को तोड़कर उठ खड़ा हो राष्ट्र, अतीत के हर दंश से हौसला लेता हुआ राष्ट्र, ऐसे ही नव इतिहास का सृजन करता है.
Modi is seeking a rare 3rd term in office, and this event is seen as the beginning of his election campaign. His presence highlighting the religious division in the nation and what many say are his party's plans to turn secular India into a Hindu-first nation. James Lin and Rosie Greninger for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwanese people have donated over $17 million in earthquake relief to Japan. More than 200 people died in the magnitude 7.6 tremor that struck earlier this month. The fundraiser aims to help Japan rebuild homes and infrastructure destroyed in the quake. Taiwan's government has already offered over $400,000 in aid. A shop in Singapore's Chinatown is one of the last places in the city making religious effigies by hand. Bryn Thomas takes a look at how one family has kept a unique tradition alive.
Carving a Buddha the old way, by hand, takes several months and a lifetime of experience. It's a skill one family in Singapore's Chinatown has mastered. They've been doing it this way for over a century, passing down the ancient skill over 4 generations. Chen Shui-Lian learned the trade from her husband, the son of the shop's founder.
结婚18岁结婚，每天就看我先生做工啦，坐在身边看啦。
Shui-Lian has stepped away from the lathe and the chisel and now helps with small tasks around the shop. At 92, she's already passed on what she knows to her son.
以后就传给他去做咯，一代一代传下去咯。
Singapore's ethnic Chinese community observe a mix of religious traditions. Serene Buddhist effigies are often found alongside snarling martial statues from Chinese folk religions. Although the diverse religious practices once made for good business, modern manufacturing and mass production techniques now dominate the market. The family shop is one of the last in Singapore still making effigies by hand, and they hope the next generation will continue the tradition.
希望是这样啦，可以他如果有兴趣就他也是有兴趣就可以这样做了，哦，不能勉强这样了哈，
The Buddha shop has survived a dying industry to become a bastion of local heritage. The shop's reputation and ability to repair heirloom statues has created a new market.
The statues that we receive and which we work on, I know that they're very important pieces in the lives of our customers because maybe they went through illnesses or maybe retrenchment or bad patches in their lives, and throughout that time, these effigies were the ones that gave them the hope and the encouragement to move on.
They are both?
While seeing to the needs of Singapore's faithful, the shop owners also have an eye on the future. They offer handicraft classes to make sure the skills spread into the community and don't just remain in the family.
I do hope that we can find a system and a structure to make sure that this shop can carry on for another 100 years. I don't think we want to have that key person risk where we depend on the next generation, someone developing their innate interests, and just like I did.
By both serving and educating the community, the Sei Tian Yun Buddha shop is laying the foundation for another 4 generations and another 100 years. Howard Chang and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Tourists coming to Taiwan ahead of the Lunar New Year will get to take a special decoration home with them. Tiffany Wong reports.
Greeting travelers with well wishes for Lunar New Year. For the first time in 4 years, Taiwan's largest international airport is holding a special spring festival event, teaching new arrivals the art of calligraphy.
It's my first time, and I'm very happy to have this.
Meant to bring good luck and prosperity, these decorations can be found on many buildings in Taiwan. Now, travelers can take a piece of that tradition with them into the new year.
希望所有的旅客都能够享受到这个体验到写书法的快乐。毛笔拿起来的话，你知道写的字怎么看都怎么好看啊！那尤其春联挂在你的家，你的家就跟人家不一样。
And with the help of these masters, these first-time calligraphers will surely have a show-stopping piece to bless their homes, wherever that may be. Alex Chen and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally today, float around with these 500 inflatable ducks in Kaohsiung's Love River Bay. I'm Joyce, take care and see you next time.